But today we endeavour to explain the Merethic era, a time of myth and mystery. A time without hard dates and fewer records. A turbulent time.
Hi everyone, excuse me about last time. How I was playing at first, but then I started basically, or essentially, what's the word? Testing my mods. Play testing, I suppose. That's not the word I'm looking for, but everything should be good now. I think I figured everything out. I learned more about load order, and so I'm learning a little bit more little by little. But I am done modding, so everything should be good. I just want to play from here on out, and hopefully I'll be able to do that.
That makes it hard to distinguish myth from fact, a place where the two frequently intermingle. So unlike all those other videos we've made, this one is likely to be different. We have less years, but rather frames of time, and we have
Wrong save.
events that can be interpreted. There's lots of conjecture, so what are we to do? For this video, we're going to give our best shot at making sense of this mythic time, the time of elves, magic, and mystery. Without further ado, let's get into it. The major pinned event that separates the chaotic dawn era of creation and the Merethic era is the construction of the Adamantine Tower, later known as the Dominion Tower. It was built around 2,500 years before the beginning of the First Era, and the gods would hold the convention of this tower and set the laws of months. Now this period known as the early Merethic era is Tamriel characterized by
Really cool. I like what I think this thing was trying to hide, right? That's cool like that. There's some other mods that make things harder, like when the Oblivion gates start opening up. It'll add more Gidrick enemies or something like that. And also, there's some other bandit mods where apparently they'll work as a group instead of attacking you solo. So I didn't install those though, maybe for a future playthrough, but when I have a companion with me to watch my back. But for right now, yeah, I'm good. There is one more mod that I didn't install compared to the last one. It's the improved trees and floral, so that's probably why the trees, well, they look quite lovely. Again, these 3 marks, I wonder if this is part of the mod or it's in the vanilla as well. I was thinking about vanilla versus mod, and yeah, sure, mod is great, I'm not gonna lie. But as one can see, there's been a lot of troubleshooting. I'm actually really happy I've been recording just for future reference, where I could see how with the console version / the vanilla version, I could just start playing right away, I'm good to go. Yeah, essentially I spent about 2-3 hours just modding and tweaking. No wonder when I started playing again when I bought it, I was like 6 hours playtime. Where did that come from? No, I know where it came from. No, 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 no.
Third themes, the terminal quality of discovering most likely versions of events. Welcome back to Fudge Month, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Scott, and today we take you through the events of the Merethic era. If you've been following the channel for a while, you may know that we have made comprehensive videos on each of the eras of recorded history, and there are somewhat accurate dates and actual timescale of years. Those videos are linked down below, the first, second, third, and fourth eras explained. But today, we endeavour to explain the Merethic era, a time of myth and mystery, a time without hard dates and fewer records, a turbulent time that makes it hard to distinguish myth from fact, a place where the two frequently intermingle. So unlike all those other videos we've made, this one is likely to be different. We have less years, but rather frames of time, and we have events that can be interpreted. Lots of conjecture, so what are we to do? For this video, we're going to give our best shot at making sense of this mythic time. Without further ado, let's get into it. The major event that separates the Merethic era of creation and the Merethic era is the construction of the Adamantine Tower, later known as the Dominion Tower. Hello. It was built around 2,500 years before the beginning of the First Era.
Those are funny shoes to wear as an adventurer.
And the gods would hold the convention at this tower and set the laws of Mundus. Now this period, known as the early Merethic era, had Tamriel characterized by civilizations of Interestingly, according to some theories, the Old One who would become the Bosmer of Valenwood arrived in Tamriel earlier than the other Old One, and over much time they were transformed into a Bosma. This order of events also makes a lot of sense with the Khajiit origin story, considering Khajiit were made by Azura, a race of elves. Regardless, there are scarce records of these times, and all we are left with is essentially conjecture. It is often believed this was the time when the brimstones of Cyrodiil were also constructed, perhaps by the bird people. We later move into the Breathic era, where we have the ultimate Isles, and from there, adventurers like Topal the Pilot endeavor to find their way home to Altaris, but are not successful. Instead, Topal would end up mapping much of Tamriel, which would then incentivize many elves to depart and explore the far reaches. Topal himself traded with the bird people of the Isles in central Syria. The valuable land was traded for the diplomacy, and later this is when the elves would rise to power, many of their aesthetic designs perhaps being inspired by the native beast folk. These bird-like beast folk disappeared as the elves rise and power is constructed. Some year around this time, the Crystal Tower of the Sunset Isles is also constructed. While some specifics on Aldmeri divergence are unknown, such as the exact origins of the Snow Elves or the Dwemer, all we know is that at this time they divide and the races of Mer become distinct. The most pivotal and fundamental event that explains the two key changes is the Velothi exodus from the Sunset Isles. The followers of the prophet Veloth would follow the good Daedra and seek a new way of life. An exodus began, but Trinimac and his followers would try to stop them. Boethia, in response, swallowed Trinimac and excreted the Daedric prince Malacath in his place, turning all Trinimac's followers into the Orsma, better known as the Orcs. The Velothi exodus was then successful, creating the race of Kaima who would inhabit the land of Resdain and Rhea, modern-day Morrowind. A golden age begins, a period of so-called high-velocity culture thrives, long-lived Kaima clans remain steadfast in their devotion to fundamentalist ancestor worship. Linked below is a video that explains the Velothi in much greater detail. Another distinguished group of elves would be the Durrani clan, who sailed to Hyrule, discovered the Adamantine Tower, and claimed it, hence why it is later known as the Durrani Tower. And then we come to the late Merethic era, which
sorry, Ron, I want to check. It was just bugging in my nerves, that's all.
would be characterized by two major events. The fall of high-velocity culture occurred, and Kaima degenerated to tribal cultures that would one day become the great houses of Morrowind or Gashlands. At this same time, Dwemer freehold colonies were being constructed. The second great event that we have a...
Come on! Run while there's still time! The guard still holds the road, but it's only a matter of time before they're overwhelmed.
Migrations from the northern land of Edmora occurred.
God's blood? You don't know, do you? Daedra overran Kvatch last night. There were glowing portals outside the walls, gates to Oblivion itself. There was a huge creature, something out of a nightmare, came right over the walls, blasting fire that swarmed around it, killing. Go and see for yourself. Kvatch is a smoking ruin. We're all that's left. Do you understand me? Everyone else is dead. It was Savli and Mattis. Some of the other guards helped some of us escape. They cut their way out, right through the city gates. Savlian says they can hold the road. No, I don't believe him. Nothing can stop them. If you'd seen it, you'd know. I'm getting out of here before it's too late. They'll be here any minute, I'm telling you. Run when you can.
Welcome back to Fudge ladies and gentlemen. My name is Scott, and today we're taking you through the events of the Merethic era. If you have been following the channel, somewhat accurate dates and actual timescale of years. Those videos are linked down below with the first, second, third, and fourth eras explained. But today we endeavour to explain the Merethic era, a time of myth and mystery, time without hard dates and fewer records, a turbulent time that makes it hard to distinguish myth from fact, a place where the two frequently intermingle. So unlike all those other videos we have made, this one is like different. We have less years, but rather frames of time, and we have of events that can be interpreted, and there's lots of conjecture, so what are we to do? For this video, we're going to give our best shot at making sense of this time, the time of elves, magic, and history. Without further ado, let's get into it. The major pin event that separates the chaotic dawn era of creation and the Merethic era is the construction of the Adamantine Tower, later known as the Durrani Tower. It was built around 2,500 years before the beginning of the First Era, and the gods were wholly invented.
Yeah, I'm kind of noticing my map's not totally 100 reflective, but honestly, at this point, it's
the
fine.
smell, really. Smoke and fire. And something worse, in the ruins. What do you want?
His tower and set the laws of Mundus.
Late at night,
Now this period,
while we were
known
all
as the
asleep,
Merethic era, had
the door to
Tamriel
Oblivion
characterized by civilizations
Deidre came out and set fire to the town. Many people died, but some got out alive.
Like the bird peoples, the Topal pilot who
The
discovered
medium priest, I don't think he made it out of the city. Very few of us did. But Savli and Mattias might know more. He's in charge of the city guard that are defending the camp.
Over much time, they were transformed into a boss farm.
I don't know much about him either. Just that he appeared in Anvil shortly after the attack on the chapel.
Made by Azura from a race of elves. Regardless, there are scarce records.
They'll find him at the barricade at the top of the road. He's still trying to hold what's left of the guard together.
This was the time when the runestones of Cyrodiil were also constructed, perhaps by the bird.
I'm through talking to you.
Later move into the Merethic era.
We've been hit hard, but we'll come back. It looks bad. It is bad. But we're tough. We'll rebuild. The guards have to clear the ruins first. That won't be easy. But I'll be here. This is my town. Nothing is driving me out of here.
Topal himself traded with the native bird
Good
people
day.
of the 8 Isles in central Cyrodiil. The valuable land was traded
We're just
to
lucky to
gifted
be
rulers,
alive.
And later, this is where the Aelid elves.
I don't have much. I lost everything.
Perhaps being inspired by the
I don't like to talk about
These
it.
bird-like beast folk
I don't remember much.
its rise and to the
I
rise
woke
of
to
the
screaming and
gods.
fire.
Some year
I
around
ran.
this time, the Crystal
I
Tower
was
and
lucky.
Sunset Isles
I
were
survived.
also constructed.
My friends
Also,
weren't so lucky.
specifics on Aldmeri divergence are unknown. such
Have a
as
look at my wares. I'm
I'm
sure there's something to suit you.
no elves or the Dwemer. All we know is that at this time they divide, and the races of Mer become.
You've made a good
The
bit of
most
gold.
pivotal and fundamental event that explains 2 key changes is the Velothi exodus from the Sunset Isles. The followers of the prophet Veloth would follow the good Daedra and seek a new way of life. An exodus began, but Trinimac and his followers would try to stop them. Boethia, in response, swallowed Trinimac and
You drive a hard bargain.
in his place, turning all Trinimac's followers.
That's
into
more than I would
orcs.
usually pay.
The Velothi exodus was then successful, creating the race
Ocho.
An excellent bargain.
Ocho.
aka Morrowind. A golden age begins, a period of so-called high-velocity culture thrives, long-lived Karma clans remain steadfast in their devotion to fundamentalist ancestor worship. Linked below is a video that explains
Thank
the
you.
Velothi in
Come again.
detail. Another distinguished group of elves would be the Durrani clan, who sailed to High Rock, discovered the Adamantine Tower, and claimed it, hence why it is later known as the Durrani Tower. And then we come to the late Merethic era, which will be characterized by 2 major events.
Leave me
The
alone.
fall of high velocity
What?
culture occurred, and Kaima degenerated.
May I interest you in some of my fine wares?
Ashlands. At this same time, Dwemer freehold colonies were being constructed. The second great event that we have a rough time
I'm through talking to you.
is that about 1,000
You
years
picked a
ago,
bad time to visit Kavash.
when the first migrations from the north
Go look for yourself. The town is gone, and most of its people. The Daedra came out of the gate in the middle of the night. People who fought died. People who ran, they at least had a chance. May I interest you in some of my fine...
of sorcery and intellect, and in many of the places they settled, they were soon dominated by the races of Mer. 2 of the foremost examples are the Nedic people of
Goodbye.
Cyrodiil, who were enslaved and subjugated by the wild elves, also better known
The watch is
Aelids,
finished.
but also the
There's
needed
nothing
people of High Rock become
What?
subject to a caste system with the Durrani
A gate opened and Deirdre poured out.
elves would
Everybody
treat
ran,
people
or they
sometimes
died.
willingly, most
I don't know how
commonly
the fire
first,
started,
and
but
as
it
a
burned
result,
Kvatch to the
race
ground.
or man-er, half-breeds, born. Now one must consider the sheer scope of time here that has gone by. 1,500 years has gone
What
by
can I do?
without men appearing on Tamriel. Before
Goodbye.
that, there were the elves, before them, the beast folk, though it is unknown how long it was between
It's our natural barriers that keep us safe, mostly. Mountain borders north and east, open sea to the west, and bogs and rainforests to south.
Likely even more. But regardless, without concrete facts, it's hard to know.
Hope is gone. The Imperial line is dead. The Covenant is broken.
The
enemy has won.
Lord Dagon is the enemy. He is the Prince of Destruction, and the Daedra are his servants.
The chapel is cast down, and the faithful, my friends, all dead. The enemy is won,
And we are destroyed.
Whereas the Elder Scrolls universe,
The Imperial line is dead, and the gods have forsaken us. Where is our blessing? Where is our protection? Where are our gods? The enemy triumphs, and we die alone.
itself is 2,500 years, which may seem rather small, but it's the lack of recorded history, but it's definitely not. So let's take it back to the timeline. 1,000 years before the beginning of the First Era, first Vedic peoples have settled Tamriel and have been enslaved or subjugated by the various elven peoples. However, of course, there are also those which have remained free. The Somerset Isles are dominated by the High Elves, the Ultima, Valenwood ruled by the Bosma, the Wood Elves, elsewhere by the Khajiit, Blackmarsh by the Argonians, Hammerfell, a mix of Vedic peoples, goblins, and essentially it's just a desert land for the taking of whoever wants it. High Rock is ruled by the Durrani Elves, Skyrim by the Snow Elves, also known as the Falmer, Cyrodiil by the Aelids, and Morrowind, then known as Resdayn, is contested by the Kaimer tribes and the Dwemer colonies. So what changes? How do we get to the land of Tamriel, dominated by the races of men in more contemporary eras? Well, arguably one of the greatest and pivotal characters in history happened. His name was Isgramor. Isgramor took a mighty colonization fleet from the northern human lands of Atmora and arrived at Sarek.
Stand back, civilians. This is no place for you. Get back to the encampment at once.
They built the first Nordic city on Tamriel, Sartha.
We lost a damn city. That's what happened! It was too much, too fast. We were overwhelmed. Couldn't even get everyone out. There are still people trapped in there. Some made it to the chapel, but others were just run down the streets. The Count and his men are still holed up in the castle. And now we can't even get back into the city to help them. With that damned Oblivion gate blocking the way.
If you've been following the channel for a while,
The only thing we can do, we'll try to hold our ground, that's what. If we can't hold this barricade, those beasts could march right down and overrun the encampment. I have to try and protect the few civilians that are left. It's all I can do now. Some kind of portal to Oblivion. The enemy used them to attack the city. They appeared outside the walls, and Daedra poured out. They've opened one right in front of the city gates. Until that gate is closed, the best I can do is try to hold these barricades. You mean the priest? Last I saw him, he was leading a group towards the chapel of Akatosh. If he's lucky, he's trapped in there with the rest of them. At least safe for the moment.
Let's get into it.
If he's
The
not.
major hidden event that separates the chaotic dawn era of creation.
My home! My goddamn home in flames! It kills me that I can't get in there and do something! We couldn't have been any less prepared for this. Seems like they came out of nowhere. There were just so many of them. If only I had a way to strike back at the enemy. But we can't leave the barricade until that Oblivion gate is closed. You want to help? You're kidding, right? If you're serious, maybe I can put you to use. It'll likely mean your death, though. Are you sure?
Earlier than the other Ultima, and over much time they were
I don't know how to close this gate, but it must be possible, because the enemy closed the ones they opened during the initial attack. You can see the marks in the ground where they were. The great gate right in the middle. I sent men into the gate to see if they could find a way to shut it. They haven't come back. If you can get in there, find out what happened to them. If they're alive, help them finish the job. If not, see what you can do on your own. The best I can say is good luck. If you make it back alive, we'll be waiting for you.
The Ultima finds the Somerset Isles, and from there adventurers like Total
It's a brave
find their way to Paris, but are not successful. Instead, Total would end up mapping much of Tamriel and explore the region. Total himself traded with the native and later, this is where the ancient elves would rise to power, many of their aesthetic designs perhaps being inspired by the native beast folk. These bird-like beast folk disappear as the ancients rise, and the White God Tower is constructed. Some year around this time, the Crystal Tower on the Somerset Isles is also
Talk to Captain Magnus if you need something. I'm just following his orders.
Are unknown, such as the exact origins of the snow owls or the Dwemer.
If we make it through this alive, I'll be amazed.
The most pivotal and fundamental event that explains two key changes is the exodus from the Somerset Isles. The followers of the Prophet Belloc would follow the data and seek the way of life. Exodus began because Trinimac and his followers would try to stop them. Boethia, in response, swallowed Trinimac and excreted the Daemon Prince Malacath in his place, turning all Trinimac's followers into the Orson, better known as the Orcs. The Velothi Exodus was then successful, creating the race of Paimon, who would inhabit the land of Resdain, today Morrowind. A golden age begins, a period of so-called high-velocity culture thrives. Long-lived Kaima clans remain steadfast in their devotion to fundamentalist ancestor worship. Linked below is a video that
Have you brought her?
explains the Velothi in
We've
much
been
greater
trapped.
detail. Another
Of course I'm in danger. I assume you didn't risk your own life to come here to tell me something I already know. Yes, I'm having trouble. If all this is...
Then we come to the late Merethian era, which would be characterized by two major events. The fall of high Velothi culture
No.
and Kaima
I'm sorry,
tribal cultures that would one day become the great countries of Morrowind.
What's it like out there? We were beginning. Brother Martin? Yes, he's right over there.
A rough time estimated for is that about 1,000 years prior to the beginning of the First Era is when the first migrations from the northern land of Atmora occurred. According to archaeologists who studied the earliest known human settlements of Hammerfell, High Rock, and Cyrodiil, waves of men, both settlers and raiders, would venture across the ghosts and find the northern coast of Tamriel. These humans would eventually become known as the Deans, or Needed People, and spread throughout Tamriel. However, the elves were far superior in terms of sorcery, and many of the places themselves, they were soon dominated by the races of Mer. Two of the former examples are the
Thank the Nine. I never thought I'd see another friendly face. The others... taken. They were taken to the tower.
Would breed with the Needic people, sometimes willingly, most commonly.
Captain Magnus sent us in to try and close the gate. We were ambushed, trapped, and picked off.
Now one must consider
I managed to escape, but the others are strewn across that bridge. They took Menion off to the big tower. You've got to save him. I'm getting out of here.
The elves and before them, the beast folk. Though it is unknown how long was
The captain is still holding the barricade. I figured I was the last one left alive. All right. I'll try to get out of here. Let the captain know what's going on.
For at least 700 to 800 years before men began arriving. Likely even more, but regardless, without concrete dates, it's hard to know. So in total, there's about 4,450 years of recorded history at the time of Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, and that's broken down into 4 eras. Preceding that is roughly another 2,500 years of the Merethian era, totaling 6,950 years since the Adamantine Tower was created. 6,950 years ago in our timeline takes you back to 4,931 BC, a time before the Bronze Age, a time before even the potter's wheel was invented. Whereas in the Elder Scrolls universe, on Tamriel, structures such as the White Gold Tower were being built by the inhabitants of elves. Anyways, that point of digression is just a bit of a story. The Dragon era itself is 2,500 years, which may seem rather small for lack of recorded history, but it's definitely not. So let's take it back to the timeline. 1,000 years before the beginning of the First Era, the first human beings have settled Tamriel and have been enslaved or subjugated by the various elven peoples. However, of course, there are also those which have remained free. The Sunset Isles are dominated by the Valen Wood ruled by the Bosma, the elves. Elsewhere by the Khajiit, Black Marsh by the Argonians, Hammerfell, a mix of need equals goblins, and essentially it's just a desert land for the taking of whoever wants it. High Rock is ruled by the Durrani Elves, Skyrim by the Snow Elves, also known as the Falmer, Cyrodiil by the Aelids, and Morrowind, then known as Resdayn, is contested by the Khmer tribes and the Dwarven colonies. So what changes? How do we get to the land of Tamriel, dominated by the races of man in more contemporary eras? Well, arguably one of the greatest and pivotal characters in history happened. His name is Isgramor. Isgramor took a mighty colonization fleet from the northern human lands of Atmora and arrived at Skyrim's the very most northern tip at Skyrim's coast. They arrive at this frigid land and build the first modern city on Tamriel, Sarn. You may be familiar with these places, but the first locations you go to are called Firebomb Fight! Isgramor is actually the first story as it develops a good transformation. Firebomb Pizza! That's right, elves and men actually got along for a while, but then a fateful night noticed the Night of Tears. The exact reasons for this event are unknown, lost in time, but what essentially happened was that the Falmer, the Snow Elves, came down on the city of Sarthal and violently slaughtered every single Atmoran settler. Only Isgramor and his two sons escaped. It was initially speculated that the Snow Elves feared from the Mormon's growing population and potential expansion, so they cut the cancer before it spread. However, with knowledge that the Eye of Magnus was deep within Sarthal, we can speculate that it was instead that the Atmorans had discovered the Eye of Magnus where they built their city, and the elves feared such a powerful object falling into the hands of men, so they did what they had to proclaim it. But of course these actions would bite them back, and Isgramor and his two sons managed to sail them ashore, rally an army of 500 and return. Now according to the Black White, the recent harbinger of the Companions, he says that the Companions are nearly 5,000 years old, which places the events of Isgramor's return sometime roughly around 500 years before the First Era begins. So, in a short time, Isgramor and his companions come back for revenge, slaughter every snow elf they could see on Skyrim, and even Solstheim, defeating the Snow Prince. They expanded to four corners of the land, and to the desperate Snow Elves who wished to escape the slaughter made a deal with the Dwemer in their underground cities, and accepted a cruel deal in desperation, a deal that would result in a mutation into the vile Falmer that you know today. So the good old Nords set up shop pretty much everywhere, bringing their culture and religion, specifically a certain cult grew quite powerful. This organization was the Dragon Cult, and the Dragon Priests gained more and more power, becoming more and more tyrannical. Eventually the Nords under the Iron Fist of the Dragons and their Dragon Priests were pushed too far, and so they retaliated. This was known as the Dragon Wars, and thousands upon thousands were killed, but eventually, with the help of mankind, the Nords were able to turn the tide, banish Elwyn to the future, and eventually win the war. The Dragon Cult then essentially became extinct apart from the undead priests still in their barrows. So in short, the forces we only arrived in Tamriel about 500 years before the First Era, which puts all the Dragon War events between them and the First Era. So to recap the scale of time, a little bit of my interpretation. 2,500 years before the First Era, the Adamantine Tower was built, and for about 500-ish years as an estimate, I imagine it was only dominated by the Atmora priesthood. About 2,000 1,000 years before the first era came the first elves from Maris. Somerset then began constructing, changing, and mingling, and then about 1,000 years before the first era came waves of men from Agora who would settle and raid, becoming the Vedic peoples of Terria. Then, about 500 years after that, 500 years before the era, came the Atlantics, or the Protocols who would become the people. Then finally, we had the Merovingian era, the first actual historical date being year 1 of the first era when King Ethelred founded the Cameron dynasty of Valenwood. But don't worry, that's not all there is to the Merethic era. You have the general scheme of things and an idea of time, but there are some events that don't really have an exact place, mainly because of a lack of historical dates. So for example, we know that the Edharda, the mysterious man, the mortal hero known as Eleanor Whitestrake, roams the lands of Tamriel, gathering armies, conquering lands, ruling and then abandoning his kingdoms to start all over again. The man who had a penchant for slaughtering elves went by many names throughout his immortal life, such as Harold, Harry, Briggs, Smear, Hanson, Fox, and of course we know immediately Eleanor Whitestrake. But of course these events would have all happened before the arrival of Tamriel, 1,000 years before the First Era, or later. Another important event to consider that has many thematic messages is the war on the continent to the west of Yakuta. The Yakutas were fighting the left-handed elves, and the Moon manifests as an avatar called the Agna, who brings Oracle weapons to the Yakutas, helping them defeat the left-handed elves for good. So the theme that I'm talking about is elf downfall. The Merethic era is the time of elf dominance on Tamriel and presumably on Yakuta as well. Towards the end of the Merethic era, this begins to change, and it gives way to the races of man on both Tamriel and Yakuta. To be honest, this time and era of history is really
Over here!
quickly, and it's likely that I've missed many smaller events all throughout Tamriel. In fact, most of the myths and legends are here.
You should not be here, mortal! Your blood is forfeit! Your flesh is mine!
Crazy on what happened era, or perhaps it is just hyperbole and exaggeration.
In the cage!
Compared
Over here!
The battle of Troy with gods and demigods with tragic heroes.
Quickly, there's no time. You must get to the top of the large tower, the sigil key, they call it. That's what keeps the Oblivion gate open. Find the sigil stone, remove it and the gate will close. Hurry, the keeper has the key. You must get the key.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video.
Take the key. Get to the sigil keep and don't worry about me. There's no time. Get moving.
I'm not really sure about it because there is pretty much zero timeline for that. It's just multiple different creation stories, so perhaps you would be better served to watch a complete guide to God's video linked in the description. Then again, perhaps I could try to consolidate all of the creation stories into a general chronological time frame. We'll see. Let me know if you guys would like to see an era explained, and don't forget that there are the 4 eras of recorded history explained in the description below for you to check out. Social media links are also there if you want to reach us. My name is Scott from Fudge Muppet, and I'll be back to nerd out with you again next time. Large parts of Argonia are successfully conquered and the province of Black Marsh is created. The year is 2840 and Riemann II, having conquered Argonia, announced the size of the Oblivion. This date will be the year of the First World War, the war will drag on for 18 years. Year 2851, Emperor Riemann II falls in battle against the Dark Elves. His son, Razila's daughter, was crowned emperor. He was said to have hated the responsibilities of state considering Asher and the state. This was said to be the emperor's best decision because Asher was a gifted Year 2871, the dragon was slain in the southern Mountains. Year 28 2877, Emperor
Take
Richard
the
III is crowned emperor, presumably after his father's death, most likely from old age or some other anticlimactic end. Year 2899, Raymond III accuses his wife Emperor of treason and sent her to prison in Oblivion, Black March. Year 2902 marks the reign of Jiri, the Maid of Elsewhere. Year 2906, the Kurus mines extensive mines of the Penumbra, a named source of crystalline gems, is abandoned after a ceiling shaft renders most of its successor. Year 2911, the War of Oblivion begins with slow Thrass invading the Somerset Isles using necromancy and infernal machines. It was a devastating war that would end by the year 2917. And here we have the final year of the First Era, year 2920. The first event that would occur is that an amateur would summon Merlin Val to destroy the settlement of Riverdale. This is also the year that Mayor's Day was summoned to destroy Mournhold. So Priscilla and Elm Alexia would not be able to prevent its destruction. They would manage to banish him back to Oblivion. After a four-score war between the Empire and Morrowind still waged. However, a truce had been called. This truce was broken when the Empire sacked the Dunmer Fortress of Blackgate. As a result, Emperor Raymond III and his son Prince Juliet were assassinated by the Morag Tong, the Dunmer organization of assassins. Raymond's potentate, Versa Duché, assumes control of the imperial throne and declares the beginning of the Second Era. The Second Empire would be continued under the rule of the Circe potentates for many years before its actual demise. You'll have to tune in for the next video in the series to hear the history of that. Guys and girls, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. It was a massive undertaking recording, editing, and writing this video, but it was really fun. The entire history of the First Era, just under 3,000 years in the Elder Scrolls timeline. Thanks so much for watching, guys. My name's Scott from Fudge Muppet, and I'll be back to nerd out again next time. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Fudge Muppet. My name is Scott, and today I present to you a huge undertaking, a video that encompasses all of the history from the Second Era in the Elder Scrolls universe. If you do enjoy this kind of video, do please give it a like. It lets us know that you love it and that you want more. The First Era Explained video is linked in the description below, and there is definitely a plan to do this for the Third and Fourth Eras as well, perhaps even the Dawn and Graphic Eras, but those get a little bit unprecise and hazy with the lack of concrete dates. But without further ado, let's get into the video. This is the Second Era Explained. So we left the First Era with the death of Emperor Raymond III, ruler of the Second Empire, being assassinated by the Dunmer organization of assassins. His son, Prince Juliet, is also killed. His appearance potentate, a Circe man named Versa Duché, assumes stewardship of the Empire and declares the beginning of the Second Era. This would mark the one of the Second Era. The small Empire and Morrowind throughout the end of the First Era would also soon come to an end.
This guy really gave me a run for my kid.
Year 101 is the year where the first mention of the Stargazers appeared, a small guild that devoted their time to studying the stars, the constellations, and their relationship to magic. 120 marks the year that Baroness Vienna the Pure and the long reign of Blainland and Hammerfell, having defeated the machines who were manipulating the Baron and the men of Blainland to their will. Year 148, Baroness Vienna the Pure dies after ruling Blainland for 20 years. Year 182 celebrates the reign of survivors over 2 years later, far to the north, year 184, the Dragon Guard slay the mighty dragon, Brakrendog, in the Jural Mountains after it had slaughtered many in Winterhold and Eastmarch. In a 227th year of the Second Era, the Great Aelid Sage, Giovanni thought much of the people of Tamriel about the lost Aelid ways. Year 230, the Mages Guild is formed by Manus Galerian in the Somerset Isles city of Firsthold. Manus Galerian had entered the Sigil Order at age 11 under the tutelage of Professors. Manus Galerian and another student named Manapako would become the most brilliant students of the Sigil Order. The two students were polar opposites, butting heads. Manus would try to turn Manapako from his dark path of necromancy, but to no avail. After many agreements with the Sigics, Manus left the Battle of Artaeum to start the Thieves Guild to bring magical education to the public. major skill was formed. Orders of necromancy and year 231. Now comes the year 283. Merciful Shade beings players of hell. This was the result of the destruction of its North Star as part of his time. All of his vassals were to disband their private armies or face his wrath. Those who did not disband their armies would take part in an intense conflict that would last for 37 years with Merciful Shade top. By the end, the Imperial Legion would be the only standing army protected out. Year 284, the famous Dragon Tail Tavern is established in the Park. Year 301, and more than Year 309 is a 50. Kiego, the ruler of Anaklina, and Eshita, the ruler of Palantine, are married. Together they make a pact, uniting both their kingdoms into one nation called Elsewhere. While that sounds all nice and dandy, the reality of it is that it created a class struggle with the lower classes feeling betrayed by their nobles. Chieftains just up and forgot about ancient sugar vendettas and signed treaties that would benefit them. And nobles who once opposed to the other kingdom now accept unity that would benefit them. Rebellion struck Elsewhere hard, and Kiego would try to get outside the convention, but the Empire had troubles of its own at this time. This would not be achieved until a new man appeared with Father Data. The new man would bestow a quality to the classes, creating a bit of rotational power on both sides.
I just can't sleep. I lie down and close my eyes, but I can't stop thinking about it.
I'm just glad she's alive. There's nothing. We'll close the gate. I knew you could do it. This is our chance to launch a counterattack. I need you to come with us. You've got far more combat experience than these men. Are you able to join us now? I can wait, but not for long. We've got to move quickly before they have a chance to barricade the city gate.
The Imperial legions were unable to deal with all of this.
For Kavach!
Founded the Sophin, an organization of warriors for hire that nobles could employ instead of having a standing army. Year 321, the Sophin spread across Tamriel and would become very popular. This year they would be sanctioned as the Fighters Guild by the Guilds Act. The Guild Act was a piece of legislation that codified the operations of guilds. Signed by Western Shade and officially cooks, astrologers, healers, and fighters. Year 324 of the Second Era, the Shade, ruler of the Empire, for the last 300 years, met his fate at the hands of the Monarch Tong. Like his predecessor, the words Monarch Tong were printed in the pretended to flow across the wall of the murder scene, the room of his personal palace in the city of St. Charles and elsewhere. Besides, he named Sabrian Chorak.
We wiped the bastards out! It's safe to pull those people out of the chapel. Let's get in there and make sure they're all right. Come on. This is only the beginning of the battle for Kavach. We can discuss the next phase once the civilians are safe.
Sabrian also accepted the city of Year 342, Donald.
Where's the rest of the men? Did they die or are they on site?
Delane, head of the noble house Delane, is crowned king of Daggerfall, ruling for 59 years. The year 358 of the Second Era would feature the first known written record of the Dark Brotherhood. Now it is likely
The area
that
is
the Dark Brotherhood was
clear.
in operation before
Then
this
as soon as
death.
Captain Mattias gives the order, I'll escort the civilians to safety.
An abandoned home in the Nordic village of Jalenheim picks a
It all happened so fast. It was all we could do to round up the survivors and try to get them to safety. We failed them miserably. Brother Martin, yes, he's right over there. He led a group of us here during the confusion of the attack. We owe him our lives. Take care.
The 5th century of the Second Era begins with the death of King Donald Delane of Daggerfall in the year 401. He would be succeeded by Prince Anton on the 17th Pathfire becoming King Anton I of Daggerfall.
Report,
Year 406.
Sir, we're all that's left. Barrack Indian, myself, and these civilians.
That's it?
It made a nice
There's no one
hideaway
else.
for Bosman nobility, in
There
particular
were others,
the
sir,
Amarants.
but they
Many
refused to
Bosman
stay
would
put.
enjoy their carnal
We
pleasures
tried to
with the
convince
locals,
them it was
taking many
dangerous,
to be
but
lovers,
they left
but in this
anyway.
year 406 of the
I guess
Second
it's
Era,
only
this
naked.
would come back to bite them as the
Very
scandal
well.
spread
The
like
area
wildfire.
outside the chapel has been
Cormont was
cleared.
said to be the source
These
of
people need to be
dozens and
taken to
dozens
safety.
of potential heirs.
Escort them to the camp south of here at once.
Age. Its population nearly
But,
doubled
sir,
within the week.
I want to
Many
help
events
fight.
followed, people trying to marry
will,
potential
soldier.
heirs to the Cameron.
Once they're secured,
Many
get back
widows
here
from the
immediately.
imperial provinces would
We'll
come
need
to their
every
spiritual
available
home
blade.
and found the
There'll
town
be
of
plenty of
Newjoy
fighting to
by
go around.
Longmont. Year 408, King
Sir,
Anton
yes,
goes to
sir.
Daggerfall would grieve
Civilians,
Avenging death.
it's time to move out.
Sylvie
Let's go.
passed no sleep. Year 409, King Anton survives an assassination attempt. Poison darts were used and it would take him some time to recover fully. Once Anton had recovered, his first action was to hold a funeral for his seneschal, another word for Stuart, who had taken the brunt
We've
of
done
the
it.
attack.
I can't believe it. I didn't really think this would work. Maybe we do have a fighting chance. Oh yes, we're not done, not even close. This was only the first step. If this town is to be ours again, we'll need to get inside the castle. You've come this far with us. Will you go further? If we're truly going to succeed, I'll need much more of your help. I warn you, though, what we've seen so far is nothing compared to the battle that likely awaits us. Take a few moments to catch your breath and think it over. When you're ready, let me know and we'll get underway.
This event was known as the Curse of the Crimson Moon. Adeliza's beloved son had become infected and she was forced to kill him in order to save him. Now,
Go
for the
ahead,
closing of the Second
please.
Empire, year 430 of the Second Era,
I'll never forget him. He saved as many as he could that terrible night. If only they'd listened and stayed with us in the chapel.
City also loses its status as an imperial territory, as the Empire no longer exists. In the following year of the Empire's collapse, year 431,
I'm sorry. I don't think I'm going to be much help.
Jarl Sparta of Solitude challenges
The destruction was worse than I had feared. So many dead. It was almost better not knowing. Then at least I had hope.
Yes? Maybe we can rebuild it. But things will never be the same. We had everything here. Beautiful gardens, fresh mountain air. Did you know Quax had the only arena in Cyrodiil outside the Imperial City? All gone now, though. Just smoke and mud and rubble.
Charged with devotion to the great dragon and protection of his priests. Now we've got to deal with a little bit of inconsistency here. So apparently in the year 434, a so-called Daggerfall King Maximian sent the Pale Watch, a knightly order pledging fealty to the monarch of Daggerfall on a 5-year mission.
I heard about how you helped the guard drive the Daedra
They set up a
back.
base called Watch's
Well done.
Fort in Western Rothgar. Now I don't dispute that whole part where the Pale Watch was
The
sent,
Emperor
but
is
the
dead.
problem is this King
Who are you?
Maximian.
What do you really want
Because
with me?
this time, King Anton I of Daggerfall is still
Yes,
alive and well, not
I'm a
dying for
priest.
years.
Do you need a
First, I thought it was
priest?
probably a mix
I
of
don't think I'll be
war
much
from
help to
USO
you.
and Elder Scrolls II
I'm
Daggerfall.
having trouble understanding the gods right
Game
now.
details get changed.
If all this is part of a divine plan,
However, what is
I'm not sure I want to have anything to do with it. What plan? What are you talking about? I prayed to Akatosh all through that terrible night, but no help came. Only more Daedra. What can you possibly know that would help me make sense of this? Emperor Uriel Sexton? You think the Emperor is my father? No, you must have the wrong man. I am a priest of Akatosh. My father was a farmer. You spoke to the Emperor before he died, and he told you to find me? I don't know. It's strange. I think you might actually be telling the truth. What does this mean? What do you want from me? You destroyed the Oblivion Gate, they say. You gave them hope. You helped them drive the Daedra back. Yes. I'll come with you to Wayne Priory and hear what Joffrey has to say. Lead on.
As far as I can tell, is only really mentioned in one source called King Maximian's orders, so what we will do is cross out his name and put King Anton, and there fixes all the issues. It was King Anton who sent the Pale Watch to Orsinium. Year 435, off the coast of northwestern Valenwood lies an island called Tempest Island, or Island of Storms. The Lamia of this island would invade GL. Now these Lamia are a race of serpentine amphibious beast folk with the torso of a woman and tail of a snake.
I've always just done this next quest right away. I'm curious as to where he's gonna go, and I'm sure my map's gonna tell me so. What I do instead, I know what they said where they'll go, but I never went to go explore after that. Ooh, excuse me. Explore after that. I think they're just going to the camp down there, but just for fun, I'm going to do this quest first and something different. I've always done this next, and yeah.
While creatures they are intelligent, capable of speaking the Tamil language and employing powerful magic, they even have their own religion.
We've done good work, but this is no time to start patting each other on the back. There's still much to do. We need to get to the castle. That's what Count Goldwine and his men should be. Last I saw, they were trying to fortify the castle from an attack. If the Count is still alive, it's my duty to assist him, even if it means giving up my life. If you're with me, we need to get going.
You see, Hackford was only young then.
I knew you'd be up to it. Our goal is the castle's gate. We should be able to use this door to get out to the plaza in front of the castle's gatehouse. You know the drill. Stick close and keep your eyes open. Let's move out!
Jarl Hackford challenged Yashinak to a ritual trial by combat, one by one, slaying all of his champions until Yashinak himself could find him. Hackford avenged his father's sins, burning him, Hackford Yashinak's. Yashinak's death, the Orc chieftain will collapse and stability would return to the region. In the same year, we have the Red Riots in Kvatch. Angry citizens of Kvatch began a revolt against the priests of Akatosh after Red Wheat Blight had devastated their crops for a second year in a row. The Order of the Hour steps in and slaughters the throne. By the next season, charismatic Order, Kvatch's Swordbreaker led his army of brigands against Kvatch. The Order of the Hour came to Kvatch with Kvatch defeated the Order and his army of brigands. The primate of the Akatosh Chantry made a writ afterwards that allowed the Order of the Hour to form an army in times of religious oppression. Year 486, a small fleet of mariners was sighted off the
Damn it! This is no good! The gates are locked, and the only way to open them is from within the gatehouse. Count Goldwine is the embodiment of nobility. He's always ruled Kvatch with a fair hand and listened to the needs of his people. He was a valiant warrior in his day and inspired us all to be our best. I heard he personally led one of the first retaliations to the attack. But then, things got confused. Even the Legion troops stationed here couldn't hold the defenses. Count Goldwine retreated to the castle, determined to hold on to it at any cost. He's still in there now, I'm sure. That's why we've got to get in there and make sure he's safe. We owe him our allegiance, and besides, he'd do the same for any of us. He should be around the camp somewhere. He was with the survivors we rescued from the Chapel of Akatosh. We can't open that gate from out here. The only mechanism for raising it is inside the gatehouse. And the only way to get into the gatehouse now would be through the passage at the North Guardhouse, but that's always kept locked. Hurry and find Barrich Inian. He should be back in the chapel. Should still have the key to the guardhouse. Once you've got it, get to the guardhouse, find the passage, and open that gate. Then we can get inside the castle and secure it.
By the next year, year 541, Dukarak the Black Drake had united most of the Reachmen, conquered the heartland of Cyrodiil, and married Varaxia, daughter of Abnathan, in order to legitimize his claim on the empire. Dukarak would be the first of a short dynasty called the Longhouse Emperors, the pretenders to the throne. In this year, he furthered his conquest of Tamriel by invading Hyrule with his armies. Year 542, Dukarak the Black Drake sacked the city of Evermore after killing the king SF of House Moyle. The city falls after 3 days of siege. It would
We saw the smoke from the Gold Road while out on patrol. How can we help?
After Hallen's stand falls to Duperak,
We'll be right behind you.
Besiege the city of Wayrest for 57 days and nights, but
Just
will
haste.
fail because
I lied down. I'm just waiting for Captain Madness to give the order. Finally, a chance to fight back.
Sacking the city, and then he would attack Daggerfall. This is where Duperak would meet his demise, slain at the hands of Emmerich and Cumberland. As a result of Duperak's invasion, the kings of Daggerfall, Wayrest, Camborne, and Sean
He saved as many as he could that terrible. If only they'd
allowing
listened.
them to rebuild.
Yes, I have it.
The
Why?
last son of Duperak would take the imperial throne after his father. King Herbert of Sean
That's right. They managed to close the castle gates just before we were forced in here. I'm afraid you're in for a tough time, friend. The city's in bad shape, and it will be difficult to make it to the guardhouse by yourself. I'd better go with you. We'll have to go through the chapel and the north, then through what's left of the city. If I don't make it, take the key and carry on without me. You'll need to reach the tower, the north wall of the city.
Year 555 A. The future Queen of Alinor is born to King Peterleth and Kinley Meaden on the 5th of Second Seed. A bloody conflict between the Dunman houses, Dress and Father, erupts in the year 559. Setting up a training House Dress was not about to let this happen, so they sent mercenaries to destroy it. House Lalu, they repelled the Dress attackers and secured the post for their house. The year following is one of disaster. Year 560, the Nahartan flu originates in Black Marsh, more specifically the city of Stormhold, causing many deaths, however none of which were Argonians as they are immune to the disease. The disease would not cease to be a problem for some 40 years. Year 561, the Nahartan flu continued to spread from Stormhold out into the wider regions of Shadowfen, wiping out the non-Argonian populations. In the same year, to the northwest of the largest ever war Earl Emmerich of Cumberland improving trade on Byron. The voyage of the Crimson Ship occurs in year 563. Through the race of humans, they were generally cities. However, they were turned away again and again. Eventually, they would sail west and track out to species again. Another case of 3D survival is that the 3D chieftain of the Storm's village entered a desperate pact with Clapton's wild to survive the disease. The chieftain and his tribe were mortal, but with the skeletons. Emmerich's father and the entire royal family of Wayrest now started. Emmerich was urged by nobles to take the throne of Wayrest, and he did so reluctantly. On the day of his coronation, a halo of gold appeared around the sun, an omen of approval by the divines, which dispelled all Emmerich's doubts and converted many of his rivals. Following his ascension, he would marry his personal among his advisors. King Rancer of Shornhill offered his daughter, Princess Rhea, many times, and Emmerich was on the verge of accepting, until upon a visit to the Redguard city of Sentinel, his eyes were raised by the Princess Mariah, daughter. From the moment he saw her, he knew she would be his queen. However, King Emmerich learned that this was his mistake and almost cost him the throne. In the last seed of this year, King Rancer of Shornhill would surprise attack Wayrest, nearly immediately winning, forcing a retreat into the city walls and a siege that would last 8 months while. The other kingdoms of the Covenant came to Emmerich's aid, and over time, King Rancer's nobles were frustrated at Rancer's vendetta, withdrawing their support. Meanwhile, King Emmerich made some shrewd diplomatic decisions with an offer to restore Orsinium, Barak, and his army behind ransom, destroying Rance's holdings and additionally cutting off the retreat. This would end with Rance's army being decimated.
Come on!
King Rancer and a few of his allies managed to escape. He then turned to dark sorcery to get his revenge, but was murdered by one of his own generals with ritual. The crown of Sean would be lost. Emperor Morokar's son Leovic would take the place of Emperor, and like his grandfather, would marry one of the Tharn family, Clivia Tharn. Year 567, following the conclusion of Rance's war, Northern Hammerfell hierarchy of Orsinium negotiated an alliance over many months. Many compromises and provisions were made, but they would eventually agree to a multinational alliance.
This is it! The entrance to the passage! Best of...
No longer merely a compressed defensive pact, the new Zagathan
Lead the way.
free trade between all members and all would swear fields to the Covenant's Royal Council presided over
If Captain Magnus is waiting on you to get... I'm going to head...
leadership as the architect of the alliance. Year 568, King Blaze of Evermore died, being succeeded by his son and crowned King Oblivion. It was this year that Brother Andreas faithfully copied his record Year 572, invasion is this year that marks the second act in the This time it will not be decisive invasion, but Kamal, the race of ice demons from Akavir. Their leader, Ada Sumgur Kamal, would land in Skyrim near the city of Windhelm. They would sack the city, killing the Queen Mabjarn and her eldest daughter, Hilda, who was next in order to throne. Joran and his twin Filthor, both sons of the late Queen Mabjarn, live on. Joran, who was in Riften at the time of the siege, only arrived at Windhelm to see the fall. He made his way to the grave. Receptacle. It's a rough translation. This would explain why his actions seemed so erratic, as after he sacked Windhelm, he bypassed Riften and went straight for Morrowind, instead of slowly consolidating land, and then managed to successful. But regardless of the plan, by dust of forces staged
This area is clear. We've got to get inside and find the Count before it's too late. Move out!
With the elves and stopped and defenses. Ada came to a stop, and suddenly the Northern army led by Durin appeared at their rear, an event that seemed impossible to be merely coincidence. It is thought that the age-old enemies of Dhamma and Nord coordinated this action to deal with the as against the sea, defending themselves until their ships Dhamma and Nord break their lines, but by complete miracle, a small army of elite Argonian shellbacks show up and float into the Akaviri because the Hist had told them to do it. Now, I'm going to be frank, this is one of the more poorly written parts of the Old Scrolls, and it doesn't quite make sense, but regardless, it happened. After the Battle of Stonefall, Joran returns to Windhelm and is named High King Joran of Skyrim. The Ebonheart Pact is also created, and the Argonians are freed from the slavery of Morrowind, only to be enslaved again later. However, this doesn't make much sense, so slaves are the fact is, the Ebonheart Pact exists as a preventive Baron Aquilarios, the Duke of Coral, rallies his army and the armies of the other Clovian estates and leads a rebellion against the Empire. That year, a coup d'etat occurs in Rimmon, elsewhere leading to...
All right, this is it.
Queen of Rimmon, and
We'll
Varian
hold
left
this area.
Carolus
You head to the back of the
Valerius
castle and find the Count.
Where the Count of Anvil uses the rebellion as an opportunity to attack and take the badge for himself. Carolus fiercely protects the badge, repelling multiple attacks, which severely weakens their defenses.
You do realize I've been told
Defenses and is easily taken by the pirate queen Fortuna She declares herself
Stay away!
As Emperor Baron Valerius sought to legitimize his rule. First he married Clivia Thumb, but that was
All right, this is it.
Blood and could not
We'll hold this area. You head to the back of the castle and find the Count. Don't come back here without him.
Companions to retrieve the Amulet of Kings. Baron Manamarco, Virus Butthorn, Sisa Han, and Abner Tharn formed the 5 companions and went off to find the Amulet of Kings. Manamarco had convinced Baron that with the Amulet of Kings during the coronation, they could persuade Akatosh to bestow upon him the dragon blood, legitimizing his rule as emperor. Year 578, Chancellor Abner Tharn commissions a revision of the Emperor's Guide to Tamriel, but 100 times more importantly, the soul burst occurs. Manamarco betrays Baron Valerius during his attempt to use the Amulet of Kings to become Dragonborn, corrupting the ritual and breaking the ancient covenant with Akatosh that sealed Nirn from Oblivion. An explosion of arcane energy, the soul burst, causes Baron to vanish, and its mystical aftershocks sweep across Nirn, causing mages to die a constellation of serpents dominates the night sky. Pulling Nirn into his realm of Cold Harbor.
Show me what's at the Christmas!
Fortuna Abdigal, Pirate Queen, and current ruler of Anvil attacks the batch in an event known as the Gosh War Massacre. Carolus Aquilarius accepts defeat and swears fealty to the Pirate Queen. The Gold Coast secedes from the Empire, creating an independent state under the Pirate Queen's rule. Now, in the absence of Baron, his wife Clivia Tharn is named Empress Regent, taking command of the Imperial throne. However, Manamarco would hold the true power behind the throne, converting Oblivion to the worship of Merlin Val and having her banish mages guild from the Imperial City so that it was wormcoat could operate freely. In the Somerset Isles, year 588, Rand had disappeared 7 years prior, and in King Hughlif's death, her brother Naemon prepared to take the throne. However, before he could, Aeran returned and claimed her right as the eldest to be Queen of Valinor. She would be crowned, and soon after she would form the first Elvenary Dominion with Elsewhere in Valenwood, to eventually secure the Empire from the hands of the younger, more juvenile
You dare oppose the might!
The Daggerfall Covenant, led by High King Emmerich, seeks to restore the Riemann Empire, returning peace and stability. The Ebonheart Pact seeks to defeat the Imperials so they can never threaten their independence, and the Elvenary Dominion wants to protect Tamriel from younger racist carelessness. Year 582. Welcome to the events of Elder Scrolls Online, ladies and gentlemen. This is where you begin as a soulless one in Cold Harbor. Now, this video would be 100 times longer if we were to explain every single detail, event / quest that occurs, so this is going to be a brief overview. Also, this should help minimize any spoilers for the game if you care. Firstly, the 5 companions are reformed, with the Prophet, who is revealed to be Baron of Valerius, Sisa Han, Abner Tharn, Lyra's Titanborn, and the Soulless One, aka the
Whoa, what was that? Sheesh. Oh my god. Damn. Oh, God.
Combined forces are led by the Soulless One, who invades Cold Harbor, defeats Molag Bal, and successfully stops the plane meld, which would have combined the realms of Tamriel and Cold Harbor into one hellish landscape had it not been stopped. So, that is the main gist of the ESO, but more happens in the following years, taking place in the DLCs. Year 583, Orsinium leaves the Daggerfall Covenant. King Kurog of Orsinium, the one who would join the Daggerfall Covenant at some Chief Vazrad takes his place, restoring worship of Malakath. In Abba's landing of southern Hammerfell, the resident Thieves Guild is restored to glory. Count Aquilarius of Yvach emerges as the dominant power on the Gold Coast after ordering the assassination of the pirate queen Fortunata Aquidala. Remember the military branch of the Akatosh Chantry, and in response, the Brotherhood assassinates primate Artorius Ponticus of the Chantry, preventing him from raising an army against Karalis. Meanwhile, on the east of Tamriel, on the island of Barbados, Morowitch troubles and Clavity's file City, Chodala, the Ashkan of the Urshalaku tribe of Ashlanders, came into possession of the staff, claiming to be the Nerevarine. He uses the staff.
I need to stop attacking my allies. It's getting ridiculous.
To drain the Vex power, which would have caused Bardal, the meteorite looming above the city,
What's the matter?
Oh, those guys were difficult. Sheesh.
Three Daedric princes, Clavitus Vile, Vala, and Nocturnal, attempt to execute a plan to take control of the Crystal Tower on the Somerset Isles using the Heart of Transparent Law, which they had made Right Master Lachesis of the Stygic Order steal around year 230 of the Second Era. But he had hidden it from them. After they tricked Lachesis to reveal the Heart's location, which turned out to be within himself, they killed him, but Nocturnal betrayed Clavitus Vile and Mephala by taking the Heart for himself. With it, she takes control of the Crystal Tower, hoping to use its properties to achieve omnipresence in the entire Orbrus. However, her plans are foiled by the Soulless One in the Stygic Order, assisted by the two betrayed princes and a champion of Meridia. The Heart is returned to the Crystal Tower, and so ends the eventful year in the history of the Second Era, mainly because it features all of the events of the DLC from the ESO. However, as I write this on the 19th of October 2018, bear in mind that more DLC could and probably will come out in the future for Elder Scrolls Online, meaning that there will be more events in the timeline that we don't yet know about. I would presume that they would follow shortly after, maybe a year after or something, but generally around this time. But that ends all the Elder Scrolls Online history, a century rife with excitement, which is followed by the 7th and 8th centuries, one of the most uneventful periods in the Second Era. Year 603, the last documented case of the Nahartan flu occurs, but Black Marsh would still be avoided out of fear for many years to come. Year 638, the Mages Guild on Stros Makai gets officially charted. Year 730, the island of Artaeum, home of the Stygic Order, returns to Tamriel, having been absent for 500 years. Now we are in the final century of the Second Era. Year 812, the city of Rimmons, seeds from elsewhere become the kingdom. However, they still pay tribute to the Maid of Elsewhere to ensure its own independence. Year 828 is likely the year of Tiber's birth. Year 830, the Aldmeri Dominion is...
Oh, I wonder if maybe this is why I was dying so quickly. Or losing health so quickly.
formed for a second time, forged to prevent the heirs of the Cameron dynasty fighting over the throne. In the year 831, the famous Red Guard mercenary Cyrus the Restless is born in the city of Sentinel in northern Hammerfell. Year 852 is the year that the Tiber Wars would begin. It all started when King Culancain of Falkreath, supported by Chevalier Renald, a member of the Knightly Order descended from Ring of Dragonguard, waged war to unify the Clovian states. Culancain allied himself with Skyrim against the forces of the Reach, and leading these forces was a young general named Hjalti Earlybeard, who would later be named Talos. After successfully pacifying the Reachmen and Old Roldan by blowing down the gates with a mighty thumb and allowing the armies to enter, Nord and Breton nobles joined Culancain in his invasion of northern Cyrodiil. During the sack of Sengator, a nearly impregnable citadel, while his army was distracting the enemy, Talos snuck in through a concealed hidden entrance, which was said to have been revealed to him by an unnamed traitor. He then managed to capture the enemy leaders, forcing them to surrender. It was here that he would find the Amulet of Kings. After the Battle of Sengator, many Nord generals and veterans came to his support. Recruitment to Culancain's armies became very popular amongst the young Nordic population of Skyrim after the stories of Talos. In under a year, King Culancain with General Talos unified the Clovian states. Part of that unification included the Battle of Five Bridges, where Zerg-Arctus, the famed battle mage, would advise Talos on helping him achieve victory. By the year 854, Culancain had laid siege to the imperial city itself. The battle mages of the Heartlands laid down their arms and surrendered, but before he could be crowned emperor, he was assassinated by a Nightblade from Hyrule, who also attempted to kill Talos by slitting his throat, but he would survive the ordeal, no longer able to use the thorn. King Culancain would also be known by some as Emperor Zero. In his stead, Talos was crowned emperor and given an imperial name by Zerg-Arctus, Emperor Tiber Septim, the first of the Septim dynasty. It was time for this man to chase his destiny and conquer all of Tamriel. A rebellion of moth priests took the imperial city by storm in the year 857. The Third Legion, comprised of mainly fresh Clovian peasant boys, was sent from Andor to suppress it, and they were successful. This is where the Third Legion got its nickname, the Faithful. Some of the following events do not have any precise dates available, but regardless are important events in the Tiber Wars. They occur between the years 857 and 863. Sometime after the Moth Priest Rebellion, the Battle of Bajulzde occurred, where Emil Repton, a lord serving under Tiber Septim, crushed Wayresk's long-standing naval power with a surprise dawn attack. Stenshal, the city in Elswey, is sacked by General Pothride and ends the Third Legion, due to the heavy civilian casualties including children. This battle was actually struck from imperial records. Year 862, the High King of Hammerfell, Fassad II, dies of natural causes. Baron Volak, leader of the Forebears, starts a revolution to reinstate the Republic. Year 863, the Battle of Black Rocks. The forces of the Aldmeri Dominion took the Third Legion by surprise and decimated it. Its survivors would become the core of the newly made Ruby Legion that was stationed in the Nibelheim Valley. Year 864, the Battle of Stros Mackay, also known as the Battle of Hunding Bay. The son of Fassad II and leader of the Crowns, Prince Ator, would continually led his forces to the Forebears, in desperation, asked Tiber Septim for help, which he agreed to at the steep cost of many landholding titles. Tiber Septim then sends Lord Admiral Emil Ripton to deal with the Crowns. The Crowns would be confused against the power of the Empire and would all go down in one final battle, the Battle of Stros Mackay. Leading the Imperial US Navy was Lord Admiral Emil Ripton, who brought in a dragon called Nephalilagus. The turning point of the battle was Prince Ator's death by a poisonous arrow from Dran, a Dunmer assassin. Archmage Boa tried to save the prince, but due to the strength of the poison, he was forced to place his soul in a soul gem and put his body in a magically induced stasis before being burned by the dragon. After their defeat, the remaining Crowns fled to Stros Mackay, most of them to the old quarter of the city, which was promptly burned to the ground by the dragon, killing them all as a result. Some of the survivors took refuge at the local temple of Arcade. The priests there gave them asylum, hiding the body of Prince Ator in the temple and healing the wounded, only to be forced to surrender the latter to the Imperials. The result of the battle was that the Red Guard forces, aside from the Crown Legion's Restless League, were either completely annihilated or subdued. Following the crowning achievements of his career, Ripton was made the provisional governor of Stros Mackay, reigning over the city with terror for the next 3 months. And so began the Stros Mackay uprising, led by siblings Cyrus and Bizarra. The Restless League came out of hiding and stormed the palace, with Cyrus himself cornering the provisional governor, Emil Ripton, and the imperial emissary, Dram, aboard a dwarven airship. Cyrus's sword, enchanted with the soul of Prince Ator, then killed them both. Following this, the leader of the Forebears, Baron Verlag, came out of hiding and retook Sentinel.
Where is the Count? Why is he not with you?
Led to the signing of the first treaty of Stros Mackay, which allowed the natives of Amalfi
We
to retain their
were too late. If only we'd gotten here sooner. This is indeed a dark day for all of us, lad. But I thank you for risking your own life to do this. Did you find the Count's ring by any chance?
Year 865, Symmachus is born, a dark elf who would join Tiber Septim's army to become his general.
At least
One
this
day,
is safe. Thank you. I shall make sure it is protected for the time when a new Count is crowned. Here, take this. I have no use for it. I'm tired of fighting. May serve you well in days to come.
Forcing them to retreat and cutting them off from its power. This would cause problems for Morrowind when Tiber Septim would knock at their door. In the years leading up to the end of the Third Era, Tiber Septim would invade Morrowind, winning many battles, key among them the sacking of Warnhold, where the city was razed to the ground and the royal family killed, all except a 5-year-old Baron Zaya, who was spared at the advice of General Symmachus, thinking she would prove useful in the future. Baron Zaya was placed into the care of Count Sven Adventson, ruler of the fiefdom of Darkmoor in Skyrim. Believing that they would lose to the Empire, Vivek, and by extension the rest of the tribunal, agreed to a treaty called the Armistice. Morrowind would become a province of the Empire, however it would retain a greater degree of autonomy, allowing the houses to apply their own laws, though not in conflict with imperial law, and also reserve their ancient right of slavery. The tribunal also gifted Tiber Septim the Numidium, a powerful Tomer creation that he would need to conquer the Somerset Isles. At this point, Tiber Septim had conquered all the mainland of Tamriel, a feat that the Riemann dynasty could not quite do, being unable to bring Morrowind. Come the final year of the Second Era, year 896, with the help of Zurn Arctis, his faithful battle mage, Tiber Septim rebuilt the Numidium and used its terrifying power to besiege the Somerset Isles, conquering it with an hour. Its activation of the Numidium was said to have caused a dragon break, and to learn more
The Imperial Legion is at your disposal, citizen. What seems to be the problem?
However, long story short,
The Kvatch Oblivion Gate has been closed. Don't you understand what that means? We can beat the bastards!
And replace them with loyal ones. Zurn Arctis was
Carry
furious
on.
to see betrayal and misuse.
That was crazy battle. I remember doing my 360. I don't remember being that difficult. Though, it may be again because I didn't realize that on my, well, not a lot, but a couple of my equipment was damaged. So, also it's unfortunate. I don't like it when NPC allies, as one could say. I did my best to save as many as I could, but yeah.
The Numidium. The two longtime friends fought, resulting in the destruction of the Numidium, scattering its pieces all over Tamriel. Zurn becomes the Underking. Watch the Numidium video for more information. And Tiber Septim successfully conquered all of Tamriel, including the Somerset Isles, for the first time ever, the ultimate bow to the will of man. And with this proclamation of the United Tamriel, so came the proclamation of the Third Era. And so ends the Second Era, the triumphant tale of a lowly general who ascended to the throne of the Empire and managed to do the undoable, unite all of Tamriel and conquer the elves of Somerset. What of his reign? How did the Empire fare under Tiber Septim? For that, you'll have to tune in to the next video in the series. Guys and girls, thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed these videos. These videos are huge. They're a massive undertaking, but they're really, really fun. The entire history of the Second Era, nearly 900 years of the Elder Scrolls timeline, was just explained. Thanks so much for watching, guys. My name is Scott from Fudge Muppet, now back to nerd out with you again next time. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Fudge Muppet. My name is Scott, and today I present to you a big undertaking, a video that encompasses all of the history from the Third Era in the Elder Scrolls universe. If you do enjoy this kind of video, do please give it a like. It lets us know that you love it and that you want more. The First and Second Era explained videos are linked in the description below, and there is definitely a plan to do this for the Fourth Era as well. And
Oh, thank goodness that the game crashed. I was like, oh no.
perhaps even the Dawn and Malefic eras, but they can get a little bit...
In terms of role playing, I think taking a nap after this huge battle makes sense for my character. I also decided to do it just because...
Easy, citizens.
Oh, he's still here.
Hail, citizens. I speak for the Emperor. Or at least I did. Carry on.
So it looks like Marina is down there. I don't know why I was thinking maybe she would take him to like a nearby, the nearest city. It's Gingrad, I guess? Yes, Gingrad. Oh, excuse me everyone, give me a quick second. Flop. Sorry about that, I dropped my water. Oh, a little bit of it at least. I gotta quickly had to dry that up. Not a lot, just a little bit. I didn't have too much left. That Great Gate is pretty great. It's huge.
Precise and a bit more hazy with a lack of concrete dates, but without further ado, let's get into the video. This is the Third Era explained. So we left to the end of the set.
Wow, the view distance is pretty damn good. Look at that.
Second Era, Tiber Scepter, the unification to Tamriel for the first time in history, ending the war, strife, and false emperors of the Second Era. Year one of the Third Era would mark the beginning of the Septim dynasty. After Tiber Septim established a centralized monarchy in Morrowind in order to have easier control of the province, King Athin Lethlin was chosen in the year 6 of the Third Era. Grace of all gods, King of Morrowind, Duke of Mournhold, Defender of the people and the law, loyal servant of the Emperor and Empire. Year 12 of the Third Era, Encyclopedia Tamrielica is first published. In the year 20, Destry Malark is born in the city-state of Rehard in Hammerfell. He would become a famed and accomplished historian of Redguard culture and language. In the year 38 of the Third Era, arguably the most famous person in all of Tamrielic history, Emperor Tiber Septim, died. Upon his death, it was said to have reigned for an entire fortnight, as if the land of Tamriel itself was weeping. His grandson Pelagius is crowned. Year 39 of the Third Era, Destry Malark began study at the age of 19 in Imperial City, and he would encounter cosmology, Greek, Nordic, and Barbarian cultures. He would have a very productive and valuable career.
Let's see what's up with this verse. Oh, no wonder it's that long. The transportation. This one.
He wrote important historical texts like Devout the Singer, Redguards, their history and their heroes, and notes for
me going.
Year 41.
How
Emperor
could
Pelagius
I-
is assassinated by the Dark
Angry
Brother,
with us?
leaving no direct heir to the throne.
Greetings, traveler.
Pelagius' first cousin, once removed,
God.
Tyra,
Thanks.
daughter of Tiber
Kavach
Septim's
is safe.
brother, Agnorith.
May I interest you in some of my fine wares?
Was blessed with time of prosperity and good harvests, and was an avid patroness of art, music, and dance. 7 years later, year 48 of the Third Era, Empress Kintira dies and her son Uriel I is crowned after her death. Year 55, Prince Antiochus, son of the future Emperor Pelagius II, is born. Though some sources state that he is born in the year 51, 4 years prior. Year 63, in the autumn of the year, Prince Pelagius, son of Uriel II, who is the son of Emperor Uriel I, came to the High Rock city-state of Camelon to pay court to the daughter of King Volstade. Her name was Quintilla, the most beauteous princess in Tamriel, skilled at all maidenly skills and an accomplished sorceress. 11 years a widower with a young son named Antiochus, Pelagius arrived at court to find the city-state was being terrorized by a great demon werewolf. Instead of romantic pursuit, Pelagius and Quintilla together went out
A fine transaction.
With his sword and her sorcery, the beast was slain, and by the powers of mysticism, Quintilla chained the beast's soul to a gem. Pelagius had made the gem into a ring and married her, but it was said that the soul of the wolf stayed with the couple until the birth of their first child.
Tell your friends about me.
The child would be Fatima, the wolf woman. Year
Farewell.
64, Emperor Uriel I dies and is succeeded by his son Uriel II. Tragically, the rule of Uriel II
I'm sorry.
blights, plagues, and insurrections. The tender
I'm
hearts
sorry.
inherited from his
The
father.
destruction was worse than I had.
Little justice is done.
Take care.
Year 67,
I'm told you closed the Oblivion Gate. I'm amazed. Thank you on behalf of all Kavachi's refugees.
Year 77, Sephirus Septim, the third child of Pelagius II, was born.
You too.
And in the year 79, Magnus
You closed the gate. That's the first good news in a long time. Armor, weapons, I have it all. How may I help you?
Year 81, 1 year later, the 14-year-old Princess Fatima marries the 62-year-old King Mantiaco of Solitude. Mantiaco is said to have loved her greatly and allowed her all that she wished. Year 82, Emperor Uriel II dies after an 18-year reign marked by poor financial and judicial management, leaving a massive debt and problems for his son and successor.
You've made a good bit of gold.
This year. Year 97, Uriel Septim III, known as Uriel.
Oh wait, I'm very close to being able to afford that house. Maybe I should save the damn.
Antiocho at this point is born to Fatima Septim and King Antiocho. In the year 98, Empress Pelagius II dies after a 17-year reign. Year 99, Antiochus, the first son of Pelagius II, is crowned emperor and began a reign rife with civil wars. Pelagius II's wife Quintilla dies with her only regret being that she would not live to see her grandson Uriel III's coronation as King of Solitude. Year 100 of the Third Era, King Mantiaco of Solitude dies, and Uriel Septim III rules Solitude.
I appreciate you.
with his mother, Fatima. In the year 104 of the Third Era, Princess Kintira II is born to Antiochus and his second wife, Isla. In the next year, year 105, the Obsculus Lamebal Tarmeza Morti is
Farewell.
translated by the University of
see you.
Silver Press, revealing the tale of Lamebal Falg and her transformation into the first vampire. By the year 109, the obese and lecherous Emperor Antiochus, 10 years into his reign, has done little to impress his subjects and has exhibited unquenchable hedonism. His half-brother, Magnus Septim, is now married to a serial killer,
The smell,
Helena, and together they
smoke and
manage the
fire.
affairs of Black
And something worse.
Anyway, here's a good point to stop. Awesome. Well, I think this is the first video since modding that I just played the game all the way through. Thankfully, nothing crashed. The mods seem to be working, and yeah. So thanks for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Mario decided he had to go do something while I spoke. That horse though, I didn't notice that much last time. If it was doing that. But thanks, I appreciate it.